So you're here to learn how to use TRAPTRIX, and it's a good thing too because you're in the right place for the ultimate combo guide on how to use TRAPTRIX in the April 2023 competitive Yu-Gi-Oh format. Let's jump into it. What's up, Ocean? You got Matt here, and welcome to another competitive Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today we're going over the best combo tutorial for how to use TRAPTRIX in the April 2023 format. This deck is one of the best controlled decks of the meta today, and if you guys are excited to see what we can do with it, then make sure to leave a like on the video and of course subscribe to the channel. We are super close to 200 subs, so let's see if we can go and hit that goal. Let's jump into it. Okay, so today we're going to cover 4 main combos for TRAPTRIX, your bread and butter combos that you're going to be running with this deck. It is not very much a combo-oriented strategy, but you really have to be able to get to the right setup so that you can win with your control setup, which is really important in this current metagame. So the goal is to go over these 4 combos here as well as a test hand, assuming we have the time for it. Okay, so here's our hand, and we're going to start off with this combo by normal summoning the copy of TRAPTRIX Marmello, immediately activating its effect to go ahead and add a copy of TRAPTRIX Holutea from our deck to our hand. We're then going to link summon it off into a copy of TRAPTRIX Sarah, and because we link summon a monster, we can trigger Parallax Seed to special summon itself to a zone a link monster points to. We can then use the second effect of Parallax Seed because it was summoned to summon another one from our deck, making them both level 4. We can then, after this one, this will be our 4th summon, we can now go into our 5th summon, which is going to be a copy of TRAPTRIX Rafflesia, which will go over here into defense position. This is very important because it protects our plays, protects our cards from being destroyed, and insulates us from Nibiru as well, which is super important. At this point in time, we're going to go ahead and set the Holutea and immediately activate it by discarding our normal trap card rather to the graveyard. In this case, it'll be evenly matched, summoning itself to our side of the field. Then we can trigger Sarah's effect, and this is important now. Depending on what normal trap you discarded, you have 3 options to go into, in my opinion. You have the effect of TRAPTRIX Dianea if it was a whole normal trap. You have TRAPTRIX Mantis if you have another trap card or card you can set in your hand because you can trigger Sarah before you go into another XCs. Or if you really just want to get a card into rotation, you can go with Putuka. For this example here, I'm going to go with TRAPTRIX Putuka. Putuka will summon itself. We're not going to use the effect to banish a card because we're assuming we're going first here and our opponent doesn't have any cards to banish. We're then going to XC summon these 2 into our copy of Pingulika, which is again very strong in this deck here. We're then going to detach our copy of Holutea from the Pingulika to be able to search for a TRAPTRIX card from our deck to our hand, TRAPTRIX monster, I should say. We're going to go ahead and add our copy of TRAPTRIX Arachnocampa, and that is going to be able to trigger our TRAPTRIX Sarah to be able to set from our deck to our hand immediately a copy of Floodgate Trap Hole. Now this is very strong because Floodgate Trap Hole is one of the better trap cards in the metagame today, allowing us to permanently Book of Moon our opponent's cards when they normal flip summon or special summon them, which is really strong. Now the reason why I'm going to search for Arachnocampa specifically instead of something like a Dianea or something like a Mantis or whatever the case might be for follow-up, I really like Arachnocampa as a way to protect our back row. It also allows us to trigger a TRAPTRIX Sarah off of an effect of a TRAPTRIX monster because you can use the effect, it starts a chain, which means that Sarah can actually have its effect pop off to set a trap from your deck, which is really strong. So on our opponent's turn, we now have the interruptions as follows. We have Arachnocampa to summon itself to our opponent's side of the field, or to our side of the field rather, and be able to have Sarah trigger to set another trap card. We also have the effect of Rafflesia to send a trap to the graveyard to insulate our plays, or to be able to get maybe another Floodgate Trap Hole, or maybe it's a TRAPTRIX Trap Hole Nightmare. Who knows? Floodgate Trap Hole will activate, we can special summon something like Putuka directly from our deck, which is really good to get potential banish. We have a lot of advantages with that, so I do believe that it's a really solid combo you need to know if you're playing TRAPTRIX in April 2023. Our second combo is going to revolve around TRAPTRIX Mantis, any normal trap card, and Parallel Exceed. We're going to start off by normal summoning the TRAPTRIX Mantis, using this effect to go ahead and add our copy of TRAPTRIX Arachnocampa. We're then going to go ahead and link off the TRAPTRIX Mantis into our copy of TRAPTRIX Sarah, the best card in the deck, triggering our Parallel Exceed to special summon itself and getting another copy directly from the deck. This is once again 4 summons, and our 5th one is going to be our copy of TRAPTRIX Rafflesia to protect our plays quite a bit. So this is really strong here. We're back to basically our normal setup here. We just don't have a problem here. We don't have Holutea yet, so how do we do that? Well, we're going to go ahead and use the effect of Arachnocampa in our hand to special summon it to our side of the field. That'll lock us into insects and plants from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. That's also going to trigger Sarah to be able to go ahead and set a TRAPTRIX Holutea directly from our deck, which we're going to go ahead and do over here. We're then going to immediately activate it by discarding our normal trap card to the graveyard and being able to summon it to our side of the field, and that's going to allow us to be able to summon a trapped card, or a TRAPTRIX card rather, from our deck to our side of the field. Now, there's a few different options that you can take here. I personally prefer the TRAPTRIX Dianea if it is a whole normal trap card that we discarded. And in this case, it was. If it wasn't, you can go with TRAPTRIX BEST to get into rotation. But for this case, we're going to go with TRAPTRIX Dianea. So we special summon it. That'll trigger to set the TRAPTRIX Trap Hole Nightmare directly to our side of the field, banishing it during the end phase. So I'll keep this face up to know that's on our side of the field. Now at this point in time, we have a few different options. We have a way to get into multiple XCs, or one XC rather, and protect something while having another body on the board. I find that the best course of action to go to is to go and overlay the Dianea and the Holutea in this case. I want to keep Arachnocampa on board because its effect is lingers to protect our back row from destruction. So we're going to go ahead and link, or overlay rather, these two cards into, depending on what our hand is going to be, it's either going to be a copy of Pingulica, or it can be another copy of TRAPTRIX Rafflesia. In this case here, because we technically don't have any other back row in our hand since we started with a 3-card hand, I'm going to go with TRAPTRIX Rafflesia. But if I had something like a Floodgate Trap Hole in my hand, or other traps, maybe it's Torrential Tribute if you're playing a build with that, or something like the Compulsory Evacuation Device, whatever the case might be, even Infinite Impermanence, I would go ahead and go into Pingulica to get an additional search for another summon down the line and get other things into rotation. But for the time being, we have interruptions in TRAPTRIX Trap Hole Nightmare, we have then an interruption with Rafflesia, and a second one with the other Rafflesia. I do want to say that you should be using the first Rafflesia over here because it has Holutea attached to it, so you can detach that, which will allow you to then revive back another card on your side of the field, and that's really good to be able to extend your plays really, really well and offer more interruptions on your opponent's turn. Our third combo is going to revolve around any two TRAPTRIX monsters, including TRAPTRIX Boudica and any normal trap card. Now, the main thing with this is because I have TRAPTRIX Remelio, you're not going to need to have the normal trap card, but I do want to keep it in hand to show you that you have to have that normal trap if you don't have Remelio as part of this combination, so you can have a discard for Holutea. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the normal summon of the TRAPTRIX Boudica, triggering its effect to add the Trap Trip Garden to our hand. We're then going to go ahead and link summon it immediately into our copy of the TRAPTRIX Serra, which is very strong. Of course, it is the best card in the deck. We're then going to use our Trap Trip Garden to be able to grant ourselves an additional normal summon of a TRAPTRIX monster. In this case, is going to be the TRAPTRIX Marmello, summoning it, triggering its effect to go ahead and add a whole normal trap card. And in this case, I'm actually going to add the TRAPTRIX Trap Hole Nightmare. Now, because another TRAPTRIX monster's effect was activated, we're going to use Serra's effect to set a whole normal trap card from our deck, being Holutea. This card has been set. We're then going to immediately activate it, this time by discarding a whole normal, well, a trap card rather, a normal trap card I should say. That's going to be our TRAPTRIX Trap Hole Nightmare to special summon it to our side of the field, which will also trigger our Serra since a normal trap is activated to be able to summon from our deck another TRAPTRIX monster apart from the ones already on the field. In this case here, because we discarded a whole normal trap card, I'm actually going to summon the Dianea. Now, Dianea will be able to target the TRAPTRIX Trap Hole Nightmare in my graveyard and be able to set it back to my side of the field and banish it during the end phase of the next turn. We're going to keep it face up just so you see what card it is. Now, this is important here. We're at our 5th summon now. Our opponent should Nibiru us here. But even if they do, it's not the end of the world because we have access to the Trap Trick Garden, which will allow us to banish the token to bring back something like our TRAPTRIX Serra. So I do find that's pretty important here. So because of this, I don't mind extending quite a bit further with this combo. So we're going to go ahead and start off with a XC summon with these two cards over here into our TRAPTRIX Pingulica. Now, Pingulica is awesome, obviously, but the main thing we're going to use it for is to be able to search for another TRAPTRIX monster. So we're going to detach our Holutea to be able to summon, or search rather, a copy of the TRAPTRIX Arachnocampa, which I have right over. I don't know what it is about me and my Arachnocampas, I keep losing them, but there we go. TRAPTRIX Arachnocampa is now in our hand. So our hand now consists of the Arachnocampa and the Evenly Matched, where we have a set TRAPTRIX Trap Hole Nightmare. We're then going to use the Arachnocampa's in-hand effect to summon itself to our side of the field, locking ourselves into Insects and Plants in the extra deck for the rest of the turn. We're going to overlay these two into a copy of the TRAPTRIX Rafflesia, and boom, just like that, we have our Rafflesia for protection. We have our TRAPTRIX Trap Hole Nightmare. We have another normal trap in hand. In this case, it's just evenly matched. We have whatever other cards we had in our hand to start, since this is a 3-card combo. And on our opponent's turn, we have an interruption of the Holutea banishing itself to summon back the Boudica rather, to be able to banish a card, a special summon monster our opponent controls, which is absolutely incredible. So this can be really, really powerful and can snowball very well with the TRAPTRIX Serra being the best card in the deck. And that's what this combo does. It's a really solid combo for this 2 to 2.5 to 3 card combo we have. Our final combo for today is going to revolve around TRAPTRIX Holutea, any TRAPTRIX monster, and any normal trap card. In this case here, I have TRAPTRIX Arachnocampa because I want to show you that even with the worst TRAPTRIX monster to draw as part of this combo, you still could end on a pretty nice board here. So that's what I want to show off in this case. The only other card, the only other TRAPTRIX monster that's not as good, I'd say, would be Dianea, because you don't have any TRAPTRIX engraved when you're summoning it, but it's still really solid. If you end up with one of the big 3 of Boudica, of Mantis, or of Marmelio, you're in a really good position. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and start by normal summoning the TRAPTRIX Arachnocampa and immediately linking it off into our copy of TRAPTRIX Serra. We're then going to go ahead and set our Holutea and immediately activate it by discarding our normal trap card here to be able to summon it to our side of the field. That's amazing because now we can trigger our TRAPTRIX Sarah to be able to summon a TRAPTRIX monster directly from the deck. And in this case here, I'm actually going to go ahead and summon the TRAPTRIX Pudica. So right here with this setup, with no advantage at all, with the worst possible combination of these cards, you can still get into, at the bare minimum, a copy of the TRAPTRIX Rafflesia. But we're going to be a bit greedy over here. We're actually going to go, instead of the Rafflesia, we're going to go directly into the Pingulica. And the reason we're going to do that is because we want to have at least an advantage board built up. So we're going to go ahead and detach our TRAPTRIX Holutea to be able to get a TRAPTRIX monster from our deck to our hand. And in this case here, I kind of want to go ahead and add a copy of TRAPTRIX Mantis. And the reason why I want this is because of what it offers on the next turn in terms of follow-up. Because we activated a TRAPTRIX monster's effect, we can go ahead and set a whole normal trap card directly from our deck. And we're going to go ahead and set our copy of the Floodgate Trap Hole. And right there, we have a really strong setup for the following turn. Now, I do want to say that you can actually go into other cards instead of TRAPTRIX Mantis. If you want to have a way to trigger a TRAPTRIX card on your opponent's turn, you can go ahead and get TRAPTRIX Arachnocampa, because that'll allow you to set another whole normal trap card from your TRAPTRIX Sarah's effect once you resolve the Arachnocampa. Keep in mind that you do have a way to summon TRAPTRIX Arachnocampa directly from your graveyard with the Holutea in this case here, but keep in mind, like I said, this is the worst option available. If you had Mantis or Pingulica, or not Pingulica, but Pudica, excuse me, or the Myrmelio in your hand to start instead of the Arachnocampa, you're in a much better situation for the entire game. But again, that's like the worst case scenario, and you still have a decent control board with your set Floodgate Trap Hole and your Arachnocampa potentially in hand, and you have follow-up for the next turn as well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump into a couple of test hands over here, and I'm hoping that we can get something actually pretty decent that's just maybe a bit more than just the 3-card combos that we've been showing. So we're going to go ahead and get started with, we have our Mantis, Pudica, Myrmelio, and Infinite Impermanence. Wow, this hand is interesting. Okay, so at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world because we do have our TRAPTRIX Pudica here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and normal summon the Pudica, which will allow us to go through the deck and search for our copy of the TRAPTRIX Garden. So we have the field spell now, which is amazing. We're then going to go ahead and link off the Pudica into our copy of the TRAPTRIX Sarah. And we're going to go ahead and activate our TRAPTRIX Garden using the effect to be able to normal summon an additional card. And in this case here, I'm debating if I want to get the Myrmelio or the Mantis out. And I think I'm going to go with the Myrmelio in this case over here. And the reason for that is because I want to get another interruption. So I'm going to go ahead and use the effect, and I'm going to go ahead and add a copy of, I'm going to say, let's go with a Floodgate Trap Hole, because I think that's the best one for this current format right now. There we go. So there's a Floodgate Trap Hole, which is great. That's now in our hand from the effect of the TRAPTRIX Myrmelio. Now we're going to trigger our TRAPTRIX Sarah to be able to summon from our special set from the deck a whole normal trap card, and it's going to be obviously the Holutea, which we're going to immediately activate by discarding the Floodgate Trap Hole to summon itself to our side of the field. Because a normal trap card was activated, Sarah's effect will trigger, and that'll summon from the deck a copy of the TRAPTRIX Dionea, which will also trigger, getting us back our Floodgate Trap Hole, setting it back over here. And now we're going to go ahead, because we already used both the effects of Sarah, we can go ahead and do some overlaying right now. So we're going to go and overlay the Dionea and the Holutea into our copy of the Pingulica is what I want to use for this case over here. Since we have installation with our TRAPTRIX Garden from the Biru, we're then going to detach our Holutea from the Pingulica to be able to search for a TRAPTRIX Arachnocampa directly from our deck. And then we're going to use the TRAPTRIX Arachnocampas effect to be able to automatically summon itself to our side of the field, locking us into insects and plants from the extra deck. And we're going to overlay these two into a copy of, come on, now I got to organize myself a bit better over here, into our copy of TRAPTRIX Rafflesia. So now we have a couple of interruptions. We're going to set our copy of Infinite Impermanence, and that is going to be our turn for the time being. So we have Infinite Impermanence, a monster negate. We have a Floodgate Trap Hole. We have the Rafflesia. So it's 3 interruptions right here. Plus we have Sarah's effects to trigger as well, and we have Holutea to banish to be able to bring back our Pudica to be able to banish a special summon monster our opponent controls. And we still have Mantis in our hand for follow-up. And this is a deck, or a hand rather, that opened up with 1 trap card. That's it. So if we open up with multiple trap cards, you can imagine how deadly this deck can be. Or if you open up with something like Ash Blossom as well as another interruption, you can keep that in your hand. It's a very strong deck. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, I want you to do me a favor and smash the like button, absolutely destroy it. You guys killed it on the last combo, guys, so I want to thank you for that. We're also on the way to 200 subs, so make sure to subscribe as well. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, comment, do all that good stuff. Make sure to check out the deck profile, linked in the description, and of course in the cards as well. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.